Do miracles really not exist?
I am sorry to disappoint you. But I can't help. I cannot give you the consolation that has been given by all the religions down the centuries. I cannot do it because that consolation has cost too much. It has not given anything. On the contrary, it has taken away your very religiousness. I cannot say anything that in the short term may seem to help your growth towards religion, but in the long term is simply poison. That's what the idea of miracle is. Human mind is begging for it. It is the need of a sick mind, but all minds are sick. Mind as such is the sickness of man. When the mind disappears, you are for the first time really healthy and whole. Mind needs all kinds of poisons to continue to exist. The idea of miracle is one of the most important. The idea is absolutely against existence. First, you have to understand what does a miracle mean. It means that existence is not trustable, that nature is not unprejudiced, that laws of life allow exceptions. This is an absolute absurdity. Existence has no prejudices, that for Jesus it has a soft corner in the heart and not for you. that for Muhammad it allows to go beyond natural laws, but it does not allow you. A miracle simply is a condemnation of the fairness of existence. No, there is no such thing as miracle. Never has been, never will be. If miracles happen, then science cannot happen. And we know that science has happened. And as science has grown, miracles have diminished. In the exact proportion. The more science grows, less and less there are miracles. Farther back you go, and you can find thousands of miracles happening. Most of those miracles are just invented stories to create messiahs, prophets, reincarnations of God. Because how can you manage to put a certain man above all humanity? How can you manage to make him superhuman? His body follows nature. His life follows nature. From birth to death, there is not a single exception. But the fools around the world will not accept an ordinary man as enlightened. They need a superman, then their mind is satisfied. Of course, he is a superman, a messenger of God. He can be enlightened. But how can we poor human beings be enlightened? How to prove that he is superior to you? Just look. Jesus is not superior as far as intelligence is concerned. Shows nothing is special about intelligence. There were hundreds of more learned rabbis, great scholars of profound intelligence. He is just an uneducated, unpolished carpenter's son. By intelligence he cannot prove, or his followers, that he is superior, that he is special, that he is the only begotten Son of God. By physical strength he cannot prove that either. Any Muhammad Ali will throw him flat just by a single hit on his nose and he is finished. Physically he cannot prove that he is superior. Now these are the only two things in human life where you find somebody is an Albert Einstein, a Bertrand Russell, a Jean-Paul Sartre. They have proved intellectually they are sharper, talented. But a strange thing is they don't claim that they are the only begotten Son of God. No intelligent person can claim such an unintelligent thing. Or there are people who are physically talented. They may come first in the Olympic race, in some game, in some wrestling. But that simply shows a difference between you and them is of quantity, not of quality. Howsoever powerful a man may be, he is only quantitatively different from you, and the difference of quantity is no difference at all. If you had worked on the same lines, with the same gymnastics for the same time, perhaps you may have proved even a better wrestler, a better runner. All that is proved is that this man has practiced a certain talent. Certainly he should be respected, but he does not become the messenger of God. There are people who are world champions in chess playing. Certainly they have a tremendously complicated mind. A real chess player has to think 5 moves ahead. When you play chess, you only think of 1 move ahead. Add the most 2 moves. More than that, you will get puzzled. 5 is the minimum to become a world champion. 5 move means you take 1 move, the other person will take a move. You have to visualize what he is going to take. Then what you will do. Then what he will do. Then what you will do. 5 times you have to be clear about 5 moves ahead. Only then you can be a world champion. Otherwise it is impossible. That much concentration, practice, it is a maddening thing. But even then, somebody becoming a world champion in chess is not a prophet. He has a mind closer to a computer than you have. Your mind is simpler. A little primitive computer. His mind a little sophisticated computer. Your mind can be trained also in the same way. It is only a question of training. The difference is only of degrees, but there is no difference of quality. He is just as human a being as you are. Then how to prove Jesus, Muhammad, Mahavira, Buddha, Krishna, that these people are not just ordinary like you? The way that has been discovered is called the miracle. That makes them qualitatively different from you. Because whatsoever you do, you cannot get trained in walking on water. Whatever you do, you will be drowned again and again. So it is not a question of training, discipline, knowing certain strategies. No, nothing will help. How can you turn stones into bread? How can you turn water into wine? These stories are invented for a certain purpose, to make that man qualitatively higher than you. But this is exploiting humanity, corrupting human consciousness, giving them false ideas. Just look at these miracle men of the world, and you can see that all those miracles, 90% of them were invented by the followers or by the originators themselves. It is difficult at such a long distance who started them. Most of them must have been started by the originators themselves. And of course, followers go on adding to them. It becomes an absolute necessity for followers to go on adding more and more miracles, Because it is a competitive business. And everybody has to prove his Messiah, the highest, the greatest. Everybody else is below him. Now only miracles can do that miracle. Otherwise, there is no other way. Jainas have 24 Tirthankaras, 24 Messiahs. Because Jainas have 24, Buddhists were at a loss. They had only one, Gautam Buddha. In the market, and this whole world is a market, and every human being is a customer. And when you are selling your Messiah, your religion, your holy book, small things count. A Buddhist feels at a loss because people ask how many Buddhas have been there. Just only one? Looks very poor. Jainas have 24. Hindus up to that moment had 10 incarnations of God. They immediately changed to 24 because 10 looks poor before 24. The idea of Jainas having 24, before Mahavira, all Hindu scriptures talk of 10 avataras. After Mahavira, suddenly a great change happens. Hindus start talking about 24. Buddhists are at a loss because their religion starts with Buddha. So where to put 24 Buddhas? So they have to be a little more creative. They started talking 24 lives of Gautam Buddha. This was the 24th life. He has been an awakened one 23 times before. You can see a clever legal process. They had no historical grounds to prove that there have been 24 Buddhas. Even Buddha cannot say that because he was the originator. But this was easy to invent 23 previous lives. And the span is thousands of years. And in those days, particularly in India, history was not written. History was not even counted as a subject. It was introduced by the Mohammedans in India to write history. In India, the idea was that history consists of mundane, ordinary, day-to-day things which go on repeating. A king is born, a king dies, another king will be there, he will die. Empires are built and disappear. If you look at the millions of years, as in India has been the custom to look at existence extending for millions and millions of years, what does it matter that a man was a prime minister for 3 months in a country? Why bother? What 3 months in a country on a very mediocre planet of a very mediocre sun, solar system, in the millions and millions of years, a certain man was prime minister. Why bother? The Indian attitude is, why unnecessarily waste time? So instead of history, the Indian word for history is very significant. It is itihas. The word means that which comes and disappears, like a soap bubble. The end is not very far from the beginning. They used to write Puranas. Now the word Purana means something not concerned with individuals, but with essentials. For example, a Tirthankara is not just a person. There are only 24 Tirthankaras in one creation. And one creation means millions and millions of years. Each Tirthankara simply represents the essence of consciousness touching to the highest peak. In millions of years, only 24 times human consciousness raises so high that it touches the ultimate. Now this is essential. When Mahavira was born and when he died, that is history. That doesn't matter. Any date will do. What difference does it make whether he was born 25 centuries before or 26 centuries before, on Monday, on Sunday, on Saturday? What does it matter? What matters that a consciousness reached to a peak. If you go in a Jaina temple, you will be surprised seeing 24 Tirthankaras all looking exactly alike. this is impossible, that all these 24 persons, and they were born on a long period of thousands of years, all looked absolutely alike. Their noses, their eyes, even their ear lobes, because the Jaina Tirthankara's ear lobes have to be that long that they touch the shoulder. All 24 Tirthankaras, you cannot say whose picture is this. Even Jainas cannot say whose statue is this. So they had to make near the feet a symbol. A lion represents Mahavira, a peacock represents somebody else. So just if you ask a Jaina, he will immediately look at the symbol near the feet. Only with the symbol he can say who is this. Otherwise they are all alike. It certainly is not history. Not two persons are ever born exactly alike. To find 24 people exactly alike is impossible. But they are not concerned with those persons, their bodies, their noses, their ears. Their concern is with their consciousness. And everything else is representing symbolically the highest peak of consciousness. For example, the ear lobes touching the shoulders, which is perhaps once in a while you may find a person whose ear lobes are touching. I have never seen, I have seen millions of people and I have watched their ears, but I have never seen a single person whose ear lobes touch the shoulders. Just one person I know. He was a colleague of mine in my high school classes. He had a special kind of ears. He could move them according to his will and wish. You cannot do. You don't have muscles. You cannot do anything with your ears. Just try to do anything. You cannot do anything. But this boy was a miracle. He could turn his ears down, up, move in and out. He is now a doctor. But more famous for his ears than anything else. Patients will come and ask, "Doctor, please just show your ears." I have been searching a second person who can do that. Even that I have not found. Some freak of nature. It seems that he has some muscles and nerves in the ears which are not needed. So he can pull his ears and do things with them. But what these Tirthankaras were doing with that long ears It is not history, one thing. So it is not representative of reality. It is representative of something different. To me it means those long years are simply saying that these people were capable of listening. Now how do you represent it in a marble statue? That they were totally capable of listening. Now, to represent that, they don't care about history. It is Puran. Puran means we are concerned about the essentials. All these 24 statues have their eyes half closed. You can see only the lower white part of the eye. Otherwise the eye is closed. But why half? That's the only difference you will find in a Buddhist statue and a Jaina statue. The Buddha's statue has the eyes completely closed. Again, it is not history. They are not saying anything about these people. They are saying something that a man who touches the highest consciousness is so complete that the outer and the inner become one. His half-closed eyes are symbolic that the outer half and the inner half are both meeting. This is what I mean by essence. Mahavira had 23 predecessors. Buddha was in a difficulty. And Mahavira had about those 23 predecessors so many miracles that Buddha looked poor. So first he had to create the idea that for 23 times he has been a Buddha before. And about those 23 Buddhas, he creates miracles. Perhaps the miracles about him are created by his disciples later on, but he must have initiated in some way. At least one thing is certain, that nobody of these fellows prevented their disciples that not to do this mischief to me. Even if they had not created themselves, they allowed by remaining silent. If the rumors were going around that they are doing miracles, or miracles are happening, there is not a single statement from Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Mahavir, Muhammad which says, no, these are rumors. Just my mother was telling me yesterday, and Vivek listened her talking so animatedly for the first time so long. Otherwise whatever she has to ask is finished in 1 or 2 sentences, yes or no, and the conversation is over. But yesterday she was talking for a long time and very animated. So Vivek asked me what your mother was telling. I told her she was remembering few things. I had not told her yet what she was telling, because it was a long story. She was telling to me that when I was 5 months old in her womb, a miracle had happened. She was going from my father's house to her father's house, and it was rainy season. And just it is customary in India for the first child to be born at the maternal father's home. So although it was rainy season and very difficult, no roads, and she had to go on a horse, but earlier the better. If you wait more, then it will become more difficult. So she went with one of her cousin brothers. In the middle is a big river, Narmada. It was in flood. And when they reached to the boatman saw my mother, that she is pregnant, and he asked my mother's cousin brother, "Oh, what is your relationship?" And he was not aware that he will get into trouble. He simply said that we are brother and sister. The boatman refused. He said, "I cannot take you because your sister is pregnant. That means you are not 2, you are 3. And in India this is a custom, long custom, perhaps it started in the days of Krishna, that one should not travel in water, particularly in boats, with one's sister's son. There is danger of the boat being drowned." So the boatman said, "What guarantee is that the child in your sister's womb is a girl and not a boy? If he is a boy, I don't want to take the risk, because it is not a question only of my life. 60 other people are going into the boat. Either you can come or your sister can come. Both I won't take you." And on both the sides it was hills and jungles, and the boat used to go only one time a day. In the morning it will go, and the river is really vast at that point, and then it will come back by the evening. Tomorrow morning again it will go, the same boat. So either my mother has to remain on this side, which was as dangerous, as to go on that side, which was as dangerous. So for 3 days they continued to ask him, beg him, that she is pregnant and you should be kind enough. He said, I can't help. This is not done. If you can give me the guarantee that it is not a boy, then I can take, but how can you give me the guarantee? So 3 days they had to stay in a temple there. In that temple lived a very famous saint of those days in that area. Now, around that temple there has arisen a city in the memory of that saint, Saikheda. Saikheda means the village of the saint. Sai means the saint. He was known as Sai Baba. It is not the same Sai Baba who became world famous, Sai Baba of Shirdi. But they were contemporaries. Sai Baba of Shirdi became world famous for the simple coincidence that Shirdi is near Bombay. And all the celebrities of Bombay and the rich people of Bombay started going to Sai Baba of Shirdi. And the richer you are, the more famous you are, the more successful you are, the more you are in need of something to give you fulfillment, because all your success, your riches, your celebrity has brought you nothing. These are the emptiest people in the world, hollowest. And because of Bombay being a world center, soon Shirdi's Sai Baba's name started reaching outside India. And so many miracles around him. The same was the situation of this Sai Baba, who lived in that temple. Finally, my mother had to ask Sai Baba that you do something. 3 days we have been here. I am pregnant, and my brother has told him that he is my brother and he won't take us in the boat. Now, unless you do something, you say something to that boatman, we are in a fix what to do. My brother cannot leave me here alone. I cannot go alone to the other side. Both sides are wild jungles and forests. and 24 hours I have to wait anyway, alone. I never met Sai Baba, but in a way I was 5 months old. He just touched my mother's belly. My mother said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I am touching the feet of your child." The boatman saw this, and the boatman said, "What are you doing, Baba? You have never touched anybody's feet." And Baba said, "This is not anybody, and you are a fool. You should take them to the other side. And don't be worried. The soul that is within the womb is capable of saving thousands of people. So you don't be worried about your 60 people. You take her." So my mother was saying that time I became aware that I am carrying someone special. I said, as far as I understand, Sai Baba was a wise man. He really befooled the boatman. There is no miracle, there is nothing. And boats don't drown just because somebody is traveling with his sister's son. There is no rationality in the idea. It is just absurd. Perhaps sometime accidentally it may have happened, and then it became a routine idea. My own understanding is that because in Krishna's life, his sister's brother was told by the astrologers that one of the child of your sister will kill you. So he kept his sister and his brother-in-law into prison. She gave birth to 7 children, 7 boys, and he killed them all. 8th was Krishna. And of course, when God himself is born, the locks of the prison opened up. The guards fell into fast asleep, and Krishna's father took him out. The Yamuna was the boundary of Kansa's kingdom. Kansa was the person who was killing his sister's sons in the fear that one of the son is going to kill him. Yamuna was in flood, and it is one of the biggest rivers in India. The father of Krishna was very much afraid, but somehow the child has to be taken to the other side, to a friend's house, whose wife has given birth to a girl. So he can change, he can bring the girl with him, because tomorrow morning Kansa will be there, that where is the child, to kill him. Girl he won't kill because it has to be a boy. But how to cross this river? There is no boat in the night. But it has to be crossed. But when God can open locks without key, without anybody opening them, they simply opened up, the doors opened up, the guards fell asleep. So something God will do. So he took the child in a bucket on his head and passed through the river. Something like what has happened to Moses. The ocean parted. This time it happened in an Indian way. It could not have happened to Moses because that ocean was not Indian. This river was Indian. As he entered the river started rising higher. He was very much afraid that what is happening. He was hoping the river will subside down. It started rising, and it went to the point till it touched the feet of Krishna. Then it receded back. This is the Indian way. It cannot happen anywhere else. How the river can miss such a point when God is born and passing through her? Just giving the way is not enough. Not mannerly. Since that time, there has been this idea that there is a certain antagonism between a person and his sister's son, because Krishna killed Kansa. And the river was passed, it subsided down. It favored the child. Since then, rivers are angry against maternal uncles. All the rivers of India. And it is carried, that superstition is carried even today. I told my mother that one thing is certain, that Sai Baba must have been a wise man and had some sense of humor. But she won't listen it. And it became known in the village what had happened. And to support it, after 1 month, again another thing happened, which in life there are so many coincidences. out of which you can make miracles. Once you are bent upon to make a miracle, then any coincidence can be turned into a miracle. After 1 month, there was a very great flood. And before my mother's house, in the rainy season, it was almost like a river. There was a lake and a small road between the lake and the house, but in rainy season so much water came that the road was completely like a river, and the lake and the road became merged into one, and it was almost oceanic. As far as you could see, it was all water. And that year perhaps India had the biggest floods ever. Because floods ordinarily happen every year in India. But that year a strange thing was noted, that floods started turning the rivers process of water. The rains were so heavy that the ocean was not able to take the water so quickly as it was coming. So the water at the ocean front was stuck. It started flowing backwards. Small rivers which fall into big rivers refused to take the water because they were not able even to contain their own water. So small rivers started moving backwards. I have never seen that one. Also I missed. But my mother says that it was a strange phenomenon to see the water moving backwards, and it started entering into houses. It entered into my mother's house. It was a double-story house. The first story was completely full of water, then it started entering into the second story. Now there was no way to go. So they were all sitting on the beds, the highest that was possible there. But my mother said that if Sai Baba was right, then something will happen. And it must have been a coincidence that the water came up to my mother's stomach and then receded back. So these two miracles before I was born, so I have nothing to do with them. But they became known. When I was born, I was almost a saint in the village. Everybody was so respectful. People were touching my feet, old people. I was told later on that the whole village has accepted you as a saint. When I must have been near about 4, I was the only child in the house. Nothing to do, no school, no place to go. And my maternal father had a multi-purpose shop, all kinds of things. That was the only shop in the village, so every kind of thing. A very miniature market it was, rather than a shop. So I started playing with sweets and things, and I don't know how it happened to my mind, because continuously people were coming who were sick, and then there was no doctor, no physician, no hospital. Even for hundreds of miles, no hospital. Somehow it happened to my mind that these people think of me as a saint. They touch my feet. I started giving them medicines. And medicines were nothing but mixtures of few sweets, grounded them well, powdered them and kept them into bottles in different colors. And of course, all the people who get fever or headache or stomach ache don't die. And they started getting cured because they were going to be cured. That was not a miracle, but it became a miracle. My Nana, my maternal father, started saying that you will spoil my shop. No, it is a hospital. The whole day people are coming, and sometimes even I have to give your medicines, and I know what those medicines are. You are destroying my sweets, my shop, but they are getting cured, so no harm. You continue. When I moved after 7 years to my father's house, I dropped that business of giving medicines. But people from that village, whenever they used to come, will remind me. They had already started calling me Dr. Sahib. And I will say, please don't use that word here, because I have stopped that profession completely. In the first place, there are no sweets here. My father has a shop of cloths. I cannot make medicines out of cloths. And here nobody knows that I can do miracles. First people have to know, then you can do. Otherwise you cannot do. Coincidences. Perhaps may have happened in the lives of Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, but it would have been far more honest of them to tell that these are coincidences, that nature has not broken its law, it has not given a special power to somebody, but they remained silent about it. Silence is a support. Perhaps there was not any bad intention, because it has been noted down that people are not in search of truth, but in search of power. And the miracle is a symbol of power, not of truth. Truth has nothing to do with miracle. But who is interested in truth? Everybody is interested in power. So when you see a man of miracles, you are immediately impressed. Here is a man who has power. And that is your deepest urge, will to power. Then you start following this man. In fact, if somebody tries to explain to you that these are not miracles, you don't want to listen that, because he is taking away your power, your only hope he is destroying. So the people who believe in miracle men are not ready to listen, for the simple reason that you may destroy their faith, their belief. You may be able to prove that either it is magic, that means just conjuring tricks, or it is just a coincidence, or it is just an invented story. And many things can be managed very easily. I used to know in Jabalpur a man from South India must have come some 30-40 years before from Madras. And he had lived in Jabalpur for 40 years, and he was known as Madrasi Baba, because from Madras. And it was known that he has revived dead people. I was a student in the university. I heard this many times, so I collected few people, and one night we went to Madrasi Baba. He used to live in a small hut outside the town, so it was very easy. We all entered into his hut. We kept hold of him. He was lying down on his cot. We tied his feet and hands. And I asked him that you have to tell the truth. We are not going to tell anybody. If you don't tell us the truth, then today we are going to do a miracle. He said, what kind of miracle? I said, today we are going to turn an alive man into dead. Just in front of your house there is a big lake. We are going to throw you. And we will make every certainty and surety that you cannot survive. We have big rocks outside which we are going to bind with your cart, put on your chest, and throw the whole cart with you and the rocks, and you go down. Otherwise, you tell us how you managed to revive a man. He said, I will tell you, but please don't tell anybody. Otherwise, my whole life will be ruined. I live only on that miracle. I said, first you tell it. And what miracle he has done? It was one of his friends who pretended to be dead. But he was a practitioner of yoga. They both were practitioner of yoga. If you practice yoga, then there is a possibility at least for 10 minutes you can stop your breathing. With certain exercises, it is possible that your heart goes on at the minimum, your pulse at the minimum, and your breathing completely stops, but not more than 10 minutes. But 10 minutes are enough to prove a man dead. You don't need just one day morning he declared that his friend has died. People came, they looked, they took his pulse, it was gone, there was no breathing, the heart was not beating, he is dead. They covered him. And then Madrasi Baba chanted some mantras in Telugu, in his language. So nobody knows whether he was chanting mantras or singing filmy songs. And after 7 rounds of chanting and throwing some invisible power over the man, he took the cover, put his hands on the nose of the man, looked upward, and slowly the breathing came, the pulse came, the heart started beating. The man is still alive, the other man. We confirmed the story from the other man also. In the same way, there was no other way. And when we said that Madrasi Baba himself had told the whole story, but he was also in the same situation, so you just do it, otherwise you go. We will perform the real miracle. And he said, that is true. I conspired with him. We are partners. Whatever money he gets, half he gives to me. And for these 40 years, life has been very pleasant, without any work, without any trouble. And we have lived comfortably. And people respect us. And I am his disciple. to people's eyes. But really I am a partner in his business. So either miracles are invented. Now nobody can say that this Lazarus was not a partner in the whole conspiracy. He was a friend of Jesus, that much is reported. And why only Lazarus? There were so many people dying. He has to wait to do the miracle only when Lazarus dies, and Lazarus was young. It was not his time to die either. He was his friend. There is every possibility he may have told him that just pretend that you are dead. He has learned all yoga practices in India, in Egypt. Both the countries know the secrets about stopping the breath. Either it is a coincidence or it is a conspiracy or it is just a myth created when the person is gone. But you can judge very easily. Jesus can revive a dead man. But when he is feeling thirsty on the cross, he cannot materialize a single glass of water, just a Coca-Cola. That would have been real miracle if he had produced Coca-Cola. Then I will never say that miracles don't happen. Because at that time to produce Coca-Cola would have been impossible. Even today you cannot make it, because the secret of Coca-Cola is absolutely preserved. There is no way. There are so many cold drinks in the world available, but nothing comes closer to Coca-Cola. If Jesus had produced that with the label of Coca-Cola and the bottle and everything, then there was no need for any other proof. Just this would have preserved in Vatican the Coca-Cola bottle. But whatever he did is not of much significance. And he could not do it when he was himself in need. He could revive the dead, but he could not change those apostles, transform their being. What to say of transformation even in the last night when he is to depart? He says to them again and again that remain awake, don't fall asleep. This is my last night. Tonight they are going to catch me. Remain awake so that I can pray silently and you be watchful. And after each hour he comes and he finds his disciples are fast asleep, snoring. He wakes them up and tells them again, have you forgotten? Now with these stupid people, he wasted his whole life, who were not even capable of remaining awake just one night when the Master is going to be crucified the next day. Even out of curiosity one would have remained awake, but even curiosity is not there. The moment Jesus goes back behind the bushes to pray, and why he goes behind the bushes, that I don't understand. You can go behind the bushes to piss, not to pray. But it's strange. He should have remained just in the middle of those fools and prayed there. That would have kept them awake at least. But going behind the bushes, again and again, the whole night the drama continues. But they are not ready. You can't change people's mind just a little bit. And you can raise people from death. It doesn't seem to be possible. There are miracles around Buddha that when he passes, trees blossom out of season. If the whole forest was dry, the season was a fall and all the leaves have fallen. But if Buddha passes through the forest, it looks disrespectful. Those barren trees without leaves, without flowers. No, suddenly the whole forest changes its course of millions of years. Suddenly there are leaves, suddenly there are greeneries, flowers, fruits. I can say this must be a myth because Buddha himself has a personal physician continuously moving with him, his Devraj. For what? Even if trees understand, his body will not understand. The most famous physician of those days, Jivaka, was continuously with him. Just like a shadow taking care about his body. And still he dies out of food poisoning. Not a great idea to die. Food poisoning. If some glutton dies with food poisoning, he can be forgiven, but not Buddha. The poison has no consideration for Buddha, the food has no consideration, the body has no consideration, and the trees and the forests and the mountains have consideration for him. He was sitting in meditation, and his brother, his own brother, Devadatta, who was a follower, but he wanted that Buddha should declare him his successor. Buddha said, that is not possible. You are not yet capable of such a position. And there are people, Mahakashyapa, Sariputra, Mogglan, so many people who are already enlightened. How can I declare you, an unenlightened person, to be my successor? I am not going to declare anybody my successor, because there are so many people who are capable of being my successor. How I am to choose? But Devadatta was very much angry, so angry that he left Buddha with 5,000 disciples of Buddha with him. And he tried many ways to kill Buddha. And one was that while he was meditating, sitting on a rock, he slided a big rock from the mountain top, aimed exactly to hit Buddha, and it would have simply crushed him. There was no chance. But the rock, just on the way, thought, that there is Buddha, and this will not be right to go on falling in the traditional way. She moved, change its course, which was very strange, because there was no reason for it to change its course. There was no obstacle that moved its course. Devadatta brought a mad elephant who was known to kill many people, and he was kept always into chains. He left him without chains, close to Buddha where he is sitting. And the elephant came rushing, because after many days he had got the chance to kill somebody. He was murderous, but just coming to Buddha, a sudden break. No, this is not the man to kill. He lowered himself, went on his knees, touched Buddha's feet, now if elephants, mad elephants, rocks and trees are so careful about Buddha, and I would like them to be so careful, there is no harm in it. I would like them to be so careful about everybody. Why only for Buddha? But when he eats the poisonous food, his own body does not bother. The poison takes no care. That proves that all other stories are beautiful stories, created to make Buddha a superhuman being. The same is true about all your miracle men. As far as I am concerned, miracle is something against nature, against existence. Hence, it is impossible. Yes, your mind wants it because your mind is sick. It is hungry for power. And it would like its master to be a man of power. Then, of course, you can hope that someday you can manage by serving the master, by trusting the master, by surrendering to the master. You can get some power yourself. It is a deep desire for power that goes on asking again and again whether miracles happen or not. I say categorically they have never happened, because in the very nature of things, a miracle is an absurdity. It simply means suddenly nature forgets its laws. Existence changes its course. No, existence is fair. It is equal to all. Exactly the same to all. And it is good that it is fair and equal, otherwise there will be the same bureaucracy and hierarchy that goes on in governments. And that's what religions have been trying to create. What is this Christianity? A certain kind of bureaucracy. From God, the Holy Ghost, Jesus, the Messiah, then the Pope, the representative, then the cardinal, then the bishop, and so on. So it goes on and on to the lowest priest in the village. This is a hierarchy, a bureaucracy. But everything is based on the miracles of Jesus. That's why I want to hammer those miracles as forcibly as possible. If they are broken completely, the whole hierarchy and the bureaucracy falls down. They have nothing else to support them. And the same is true about all religions. I know only of one miracle, which is not included in your question about miracles. And that miracle is a jump of consciousness between the master and the disciple. Something transpires. But it is not done by the master. It is not done by the disciple. Both are surprised when it happens. The master is available whenever the disciple is also available. It simply happens. This is the only miracle I know of. But it is not to be categorized with other miracles, because it is really the ultimate law of existence. It is not something against existence. It is something which is the deepest, the most central, the most fundamental to existence itself. Just look for this miracle. Wait for this miracle. And forget all nonsense about everything else. If you really want to be religious, if you really want to be transformed, then you have to destroy all barriers between you and the transformation you are searching for. Yes, that miracle is possible. That miracle is possible any moment here, now. So prepare for that. Don't go on digging in bullshit.